cash cold. Click that like, hit subscribe, follow us, breaktheboardsports.com. Put in promo code NFL50 in all caps. Get you every play, every sport for less than $1.10 a day for your first month. Promo code NFL50, all caps. Want to talk about getting into the mindset of a handicapper, full-time handicapping, as I've been doing myself. And I've really learned a lot over the last 21 years, a ton. I've been up a lot, and I've been down at rock bottom about 3 times in my handicapping career. And I think one of the first things people have to realize is you have to follow people, because if you have a full-time job doing something else, there's no way you can handicap every game, right? They're probably looking back. You're looking at, a spot bet, or, Luka over 25.5 points looks great because he's did it 4 nights in a row, right? Or, hey, I like this NFL game because I'm an NFL guy and I watch every game and I got the Sunday ticket and I know more about these teams than anybody. Yet you don't win enough to be able to quit your job, right? So I think you really need to sit back and look at, how do I win? And the first thing is you need to accept you're going to lose 200 games a year. I mean, just think about it. 12 months out of a year, 52 weeks, 365 days, I think is what it is. Been out of school for a while, is what the calendar year runs. If you're betting every day and you're being responsible, which means now some days are different, right? But you're anywhere from 1 to 7 games a day, right? And I also just want to squash one thing. There's a little bit of misleading people in the space, right? When we talk about unit size, yes, unit size is what guarantees your bankroll. But listen, anybody can be up 100 units if they tell somebody, hey, bet 10 units on this game, which, first of all, I just want to be clear. If you're betting 10 units on a college basketball game on a Tuesday night, somebody's lying to you. And this is the setup. They tell you, put 10 units on this one, it loses. Okay, put 20 units on Wednesday night, loses. You're down 30 units. Now all of a sudden, I got a 50-unit gold star play. Well, they're 1 and 2 and they're up 20 units. I get the math, and yes, you're up, but let's just put that into a guy that's a nickel bettor. So a $500 bettor, right? You're going to ask him to put, and he bets $500 a game. You're going to ask him on a Tuesday night to play $5,000 on a game. And then you're going to ask him on the very next night after he lost $5,000 to put $10,000 on a game. And then you're going to turn right around and now you're going to ask him to put $25,000. So you just asked a $500 bettor to risk $40,000 in 3 days. That's unrealistic, right? And I know, I get it. A lot of people are touts. It's a business. It's a marketing ploy, and I totally respect it, right? Everybody do your thing, right? But it's more about the volume and the wins. You got to accept, if you're really doing this correctly, you're going to lose 200 games a year. People say, lose 200 games a year. I mean, that guy's a loser. Yep, there's a whole lot more losses where that came from, but I'm still going to be up 100 to 120 units because I've did that for 15 years in a row now, if I can hit it here in 2026. And you also got to be able to not need the money. And what I mean by that is, a lot of people are like, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Well, I recur it back to your 401k. Let's just say you start out with $100, right? And you can only bet $5 a game. That's okay. Like, that's totally okay. Just every week out of your check, can you put $50 in there? Regardless whether you won or lost, and you're building that bankroll as you're betting, you're also investing it. And I think when people shift your mindset from I'm an investor in sports betting, and because if you shift that way, if you just shift that way and you're not so emotional each and every night that because of a loss, I mean, listen, I've seen it all. I've won 16, 17 games in a row. I go 0-5 and guys act like the sky is falling. Well, guys, I don't have a crystal ball. If I could pick every game right, listen, I'd have 20 grand on every game. Duh, right? So you got to look at it from an investment standpoint. Okay, I'm putting this in. If I'm just betting 5 games, that's okay. You have to be able to withstand being 20 games under 500, right? Just in case, especially when you're starting out. The reality is that builds over time, and your unit size gets bigger. Everything catches up. You have to be able to get yourself to a point, and it really, if you can do it when you're just betting $5, $10, $20 a game, if you can get yourself to that point, man, what a glorious place where I put the bets in, and I don't touch another game. I put them all in before they play. I set the phone down and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm going to let chips fall where they may. You're not laying in bed with your wife checking the scores, right? I got them in. I'll check in the morning when I'm on the toilet taking a poop. Because again, you're playing the long game. You're playing the fact of, let's say you work up to being $100 better, right? Well, if you're up over 100 units, which is very easy to do, when I say lose 200 games, if you win 500 games a year, right, which is usually about the way things work out if you're a good handicapper, a lot of people say, oh, you got to get to that 57, 58% mark. That's true if you want to break even. If you want to make real money, you got to fall in between the 66 to 74%, right? And that's totally achievable. Again, that's something I've been able to do, but you also got to be able to take the roller coaster, guys. If you are emotional, sports betting is just not for you. If you want to be like grandma and grandpa and bet the Super Bowl because everybody does, or you want to bet the Masters because everybody does, or you want to bet the NBA Finals because it's the NBA Finals, but you got to really look at this thing from a different lens. When you shift that mindset and you get really disciplined and really down about it, you can lock in. And then when you get away from the losses, listen, it just happened to me, the last 2 weeks of January, I was up like 12.34 units first half of January. I ended up down for the month in units. First 2 days of February, yeah. Since then, we picked up 13 and a half units. So there's a pendulum swing that goes. Let's say there's a good Super Bowl Sunday with props and I have a good weekend in college hoops. Well, now all of a sudden I could end February after the horrible last 2 weeks of January. My mindset hasn't changed. The amount of games I give out hasn't changed. The handicapping hasn't changed. You have to trust your handicapping, right? And you might say, okay, well, the biggest thing, RJ, how do I do that when I only got X amount of time? And I would say there's not a lot of time left in college basketball. So here's what you got to do. You got to pick out a conference, or you pick out the top 20 teams and you just handicap those. And then you're going to have to find people, whether you like it or not. And people say, well, how long should I hold on to a handicapper? And people aren't going to like this answer. But if you're only going to, and it doesn't matter who it is, you can't judge anybody, no matter how good or how bad they are, unless you got a full 3-month run, right? And I would tell people, if you're going to sign up for a week or a day package with somebody, you might as well take that money and flush it down the toilet, because you could get the biggest marketing hack job in the world that just had a good week. And now they sucker you for more money because they upsell you, and then you really get burned. Or you could get with one of the best handicappers and services in the world, and they just happen to have a bad week that week, right? Because nobody can win every week. And I think once you get past that, and it took me a long time to figure that out, man. I was really emotional because we're talking about money. We're talking about hard-earned money. I mean, I was in the restaurant business. You know what I mean? You only make so much money. You got a little kid, you're a new dad, trying to pay for things, man. And so every loss became emotional. And so that's where the chase came from. And I think a lot of people talk about degenerate gamblers, or you got a gambling problem. I do think there's those out there, right? I do think there's those abusers, but I think it's more of, most of the gamblers I've talked to, most of them, they have good intent. And what I mean by that is they want the money to do something good with it. It's not because, now there are those people I've walked by, in a casino on my way to the sports book. I'm not a poker player, card player, or anything. I mean, I'll play some cards with the wife and the kids and the mother-in-law and all that on family game night. But it's like, man, they've been sitting there for like 2 days. I was like, dang. I mean, like, are you on a roll? Nah, I just almost got back to even. Like, if you're almost back to even after 2 days, you need to leave. So, like, there are those people, but I think most people's intentions are good, but we get so emotionally attached to the money instead of looking at it from an investment standpoint and having a plan. And that's really what I would say, is have a plan. Okay, like I said, a $10 bettor can make themselves 10 grand in their first year doing this. And that might not sound like a lot, but you also got to think about it from the standpoint of you're building it. If you're still working your job, if you have a $10,000 bankroll, well, that changes. Fast forward year 2, you have a $50,000 bankroll. If you ever get to the point where your bankroll is that 100 grand and the most normal person in the world can do it, because I've did it, your life has changed forever. Because with $100,000 bankroll, you can conservatively bet 2,000 a game and never lose your bankroll. You don't pull from that. You don't touch it. You still got your job. Next thing you know, now you can start taking some of that money, diversifying it into stocks or IRAs or whatever. So again, I think the handicapping industry gets a bad rap. You need to zone in the rest of college basketball, either a conference or take top 20 teams in your mind, just handicap them. And then just from now, find somebody who can give you something now. And if they do hockey and NBA, right, some you can kind of tweak in there and put it all together and find 2 or 3. What's my budget going to be for handicappers? And why do I say 2 or 3? Because you got to narrow it down to one. You can't be following 5 freaking services. I know people that do that and lose a ton of money. Start out with 3, right? That are cheap. I would get a cheap, a mid, and then somebody that's maybe a little bit more expensive, right? And then you just track them, right? Now, this isn't going to work unless you have an Excel or a Google sheet to track these guys or write it down or whatever. But over the course of 3 months, find somebody give you like a 3-month deal or something, and then you'll be able to know, hey, okay, this is their wins, this is their losses. Yeah, they turned a profit. They didn't really turn a profit. Oh man, these guys suck. They lost everything. So I think when you shift to that, get yourself rolling into the summer, and then you can look forward to baseball. Baseball is one of the best sport. Baseball is better than college football and NFL. I tell people this all the time. They don't pay you any more for an NFL game as they do a Major League Baseball game. Or when I would go to the window, the ticket and the juice is still the ticket and the juice. You don't get extra bonus points for betting the NFL. RJ Cash, Cole, Break the Board Sports, giving you stats, trends, information to help you with your handicap, giving you betting insights. You can become a great handicapper and make yourself a ton of money and have a great life. Just got to shift the mindset. Whether you fade or follow, hope you win your bets. God bless and happy handicapping.